Hey, it's Friday's devotional, and we're going through 50 days of prayer, and it's been really amazing what God has been doing. And I just am, so humbled that you guys have been walking with me through this journey as I've been studying prayer in my quiet time. And today, our study is really powerful. I want to bring you right to Isaiah chapter 37, and it's verse 21. And it says, "This is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says: Because you have prayed, the Lord has spoken." And I love that because Hezekiah prayed to the Lord and God changed everything. And it's amazing to me how prayer changes everything. And I want to give you some background of this passage and what was happening, because Sennacherib, the king of Syria, was coming against Jerusalem. He had already defeated the other 10 tribes in the north, and he was coming south, and he had defeated all these countries and kings, and now he's coming against Hezekiah. And Hezekiah loves God. And so what happens is Hezekiah brings the letter that evil King Sennacherib sends him about how he's going to destroy Jerusalem. He's going to kill Hezekiah. He's going to destroy Hezekiah's God and all this. And so Hezekiah, is just filled with fear. You can't help but be filled with fear when the enemy is coming against you like that. But what does he do? He takes his fears and the very letter and he brings it right into God's presence. And he prays. It says, Hezekiah received the letter from the messengers and read it. Then he went up to the temple of the Lord and spread it out before the Lord. And Hezekiah prayed to the Lord. When you get bad news, when you get an overwhelming problem in your life, sometimes you just need to spread it out before the Lord. Sometimes, I just go, God, here it is, and it's a mess. And it looks like it's an impossible situation. You're going to have to come through. And he spreads the letter out before the Lord and he prays. And here's his powerful prayer. He says, Lord Almighty, the God of Israel, enthroned between the cherubim, you alone are God over all the kingdoms of the earth. You have made heaven and earth. Give ear, Lord, and hear. Open your eyes, Lord, and see. Listen to all the words Sennacherib has sent to ridicule you, the living God. And so he says, hey, I've got to tell you, Lord, he's ridiculing you. And you are God over all the earth. And thank you for hearing me. That it's amazing how God hears our prayers and cares. And then he moves because of our prayers. And then Hezekiah says, it is true, Lord, that the Assyrian kings have laid waste to all these people and their lands. They have thrown their gods into the fire and destroyed them, for they were not gods, but only wood and stone fashioned by human hands. And so he says, hey, he's not denying reality here. He's saying, God, it's true. They've destroyed everybody they faced, and they've destroyed their gods, but they weren't gods. You're the only God. And so he says, now, Lord, our God, deliver us from his hand, so that all the kingdoms of the earth may know that you, Lord, are the only God. And I love that because his prayer was for God to be glorified. And he says, God, I'm your child. And so what happens to me, it affects your name because I'm one of your kids. And so I need you. And he just lays it out before the Lord. And he's not denying reality. He's not saying, well, everything's great because you're God. Everything's wonderful because you're God. He's going, no, what this guy says is true. He's destroyed all the other kingdoms he's gone against and thrown their gods into the fire. But they weren't gods. You are God. You are the God. He hasn't faced you, God, the God. And I know that he's nothing to you. And so faith is not denying reality. It's just saying that God is greater than your current reality because God is reality. And so today, just claim that. Whatever you're facing today, face it. I mean, it may seem overwhelming. It may be overwhelming. It's not denying reality. It's just saying, hey, this is bad. This is a huge problem, but God, to you, it's not. And you're God, and you can take care of it. And I believe you, God, and for your glory, so that you'll be glorified through me. Answer this prayer, God. And what does God say? Through the prophet, the God says, because you have prayed to me, I'm going to speak, and I'm going to take care of Sennacherib, and I'm going to deal with him, and you're going to win the victory. And I love that. And that's what I'm praying for you today, that you will just see that your God cares so much that you can lay out all your problems before him. You can lay out all of the pain before him. You can lay out the impossible situation you're facing before him. Maybe it feels like you're totally outnumbered, and maybe it feels like that, the odds are stacked against you. 1 plus God equals a majority. And if you're a child of God, He cares about you and He's going to take care of you. But pray to Him, because prayer changes things. Hey, God bless you. Hey, by the way, this weekend, Chris and I kick off a new series called Relationship Games. And we're going to go back to some of the old classic board games and do some real creative things on stage. But Chris and I are preaching this weekend about trouble, because trouble comes into every relationship. But trouble is really the pathway to treasure. It's the only way you get deeper to treasure. You have to recognize the trouble as the X that marks the spot to dig for deep treasure, to bring a relationship close. And so don't miss it this weekend. Tell your friends. It's going to be a cold weekend, but it's going to be warm at Woodlands Church at all of our campuses. God bless you. And we'll be back on Monday with the video blogs, but be there this weekend.